Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey there, hi there, ho there. This is RHJunior, RHJunior reality check coming to you live over a system of tubes forming a boob tube known as YouTube, bringing you another broadcast of my little obsessive compulsive mental disorder that I like to call spleen squeezes. I'm trying to edit the image so that the white area is transparent, but it's not cooperating. First off, my main art program is Manga Studio 5, and Manga Studio 5 does not edit GIFs. It will not open. So I'm sort of there you go. There you go. Got nothing. Can't do nothing with it. It's a bummer. There's a little test run. I just added a few more images to the slideshow in the background. I want to see if it still works. Does it work? We don't know. I'm about to find out. Yay. Lord knows I'm all Twitter for what comes next. Alright, how y'all doing? Yeah, it's not working right. It figures. Doggone dead blasted. Stupid slideshow isn't working right. Again. I swear, what is this here? Well, you get what you pay for, and this is a free program. This is I just feel obligated to throw a little damper on all the people who, the free internet services, the open software movement. I just feel obligated to point out to them, yeah, it's great, it's fabulous, it's fantastic, you get what you pay for all the same. Alright, and the video live stream health is crappy. What can I do to fix it? I have no idea. Well, let's see here. Okay, got a few things. Gotta check this, gotta check that. I don't know what's wrong with the feed. I can't fix it. It doesn't want to work with me. It doesn't want to cooperate. It just does not want to cooperate. Don't know why. Let me check a setting here. I'm turning up the background a little bit so you can hear the, the rain and the Tweety birds and all that crap. Loop. I don't know what's wrong. It won't let me fast forward to other slides either. This is a typical pain in the butt thing. Hello, Ben. Yeah. How y'all doing? The final Godzilla anime movie? That's the one where they come back and they find out Godzilla's taken over the planet. And they kill a Godzilla and then it turns out, whoops, that was just the baby one. And then a mountain stands up. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the Godzilla coming out this month in the theaters. Well, I'm looking forward to when they put it out on video. That'd be nice. Okay, we got two people in here, you and me. Yeah, I've seen Shin Godzilla. Yeah. It's basically them trying to update Godzilla, making him a biohazard rather than, radiation. Biohazard and pollution and ain't good. Do you mean ain't or wasn't or wasn't any? It was a movie. It was a monster movie with lots of explodey action. But hashtag not my Godzilla. So many people trying to update the threat, what it is that you realize that most of these monsters, monster movies and that they update, the old monsters were based on old fears, old ignorances. Like the Incredible Hulk. The original Incredible Hulk was created by a gamma bomb, which was all about people's fear of radiation in the nuke and the Cold War. And then they made Ang Lee's Hulk, which was supposed to be an updated version. And not only was not a bomb not involved, they threw in nanites and genetic engineering, because those are the two things that you scare the bumpkins with now. Back in the day, it was you scared the crap out of them with radiation. Nowadays, you want to get the farm fresh corn huskers all up into Twitter. You start talking about nanite this and genetic engineering that. They don't know what it means. They don't understand a thing about it. and it scares the crap out of them. So it's grist for the mill for people who write stupid sci-fi. Same story with Godzilla. Originally, Godzilla was about the nuke, the nuclear attack on Japan. He was a radioactive monster. Considering they're the only people to have gotten a real close look at a Texas sunrise. The Japanese can be forgiven for having their own biases about radiation. But this update, radiation, the nukes and everything, that scared the old generation. Let's rewrite him so that he's something that scares the young generation. The young, dumb, and ignorant. Biohazards, and they turned Godzilla into the result of apparently some sort of biolabs runoff. The '90s Godzilla movie. The one with the one that was set in New York. Is the '90s Godzilla movie the one set in New York? Because I did see that one. Saw it in theaters. I was so disappointed the first time I saw a poster that showed the full monster. I'm like, that is so not Godzilla. That is not Godzilla. It was a cool monster, but it wasn't Godzilla. I used to watch the Godzilla cartoon that was based off that movie too. And it was pretty cool. But it was not the old, it wasn't the Japanese Godzilla. It wasn't the original Japanese Tokyo stomping, radiation fire breathing Godzilla. It just wasn't him. I grew up watching the old cheesy Godzilla monster movies on Sunday afternoons after church, Church service would end, we'd go home, we'd go in there, I'd turn on the TV, ooh, Godzilla movie today. Yay. Or they'd be on a Saturday afternoon after the cartoons went off. Yay, Godzilla. What monster he's gonna beat up this time? That was my Godzilla. Now I will say this, the Godzilla, the Godzilla movie, this Godzilla 2 that's coming out this month, the one before that, awesome special effects, awesome Godzilla design. He is sort of chunky, but bigger monster, bigger times. The problem with that Godzilla movie was that, first of all, they couldn't decide who the focus character was going to be. Originally, you thought it was going to be the guy from Breaking Bad. And he would have been awesome if they'd have just kept him through the whole movie. Because he had that frenetic, the horror is coming kind of atmosphere, The scientist trying to warn the stubborn civil authorities that a terrible danger was coming, and he would have been great as the human viewpoint character for the movie. But then they kill him off. 30 minutes into the movie, before anybody even sees Godzilla. And we spend the rest of the movie chasing back and forth, following different characters, but flipping back and forth between point of view characters, but generally following this guy's military son, who is a lot less interesting and a whole lot goofier looking. Second of all, okay, Godzilla does not show up in his own movie until nearly the second hour. Hello, people. We did not come here to see whoever made that first one. They apparently had a monster movie about giant cockroaches that they wanted to make, and so they tried to sneak it in as part of this Godzilla movie. The Mutos or Muties or whatever you call them, the big giant freaking cockroaches. And they just shoehorned that in there. And they turned Godzilla into, second billing in his own movie. Not good. Okay? This movie, though, looks more like they are going to be a little more respectful of the fandom. They have Godzilla, they have King Ghidorah, they have Mothra, they have Rodan. They got the whole monster stomp going on here. And they are obviously, this is their way of saying, we're so sorry, please don't run away from us. Don't leave us. We'll bring back your monsters. We screwed up, we know it. Now, how many have you seen the Scooby-Doo? Did you ever see the two Scooby-Doo movies? I saw both of them in the theater. Now, the first one was a real clunker. It was a real turkey. It had its funny moments, but it just wasn't Scooby-Doo. What I think was really disappointing, most people went and saw the first one, never gave the second one a chance. But I was bored that day, and I had a few bucks for the movie. I went to the movie. The second Scooby-Doo movie, Monsters Unleashed, was much more a tribute to the Scooby-Doo cartoon, because they threw in all the monsters from the TV series and the old villains, and it was a lot more fun. It was actually much better than the first one. Apparently, once bitten, twice shy. So most people who saw the first one didn't bother with the second, and they missed out. I gotta wonder. The only reason I can think of that Hollywood is still in business is because essentially they're a monopoly. There's nobody out there with just the sheer massive infrastructure necessary to compete with them. Not other country, not the movie theaters, the movie industry in other countries. Nobody. They are the 500-pound gorilla. And so no matter how badly they screw up, and no matter how much poo they fling, nobody's going to move them. Excuse me. I might as well I'm going to take today and work on the next nip and tuck strip. Why not? I think I've got a considerable number of people interested in seeing what happens next, so to speak. Lines are surprisingly thick. I don't know what this is. Let's see here. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The new Godzilla movie looks like it's going to be something else. It's certainly going to be eye candy, that's for sure. Why did they have to have that same pie-faced goof burger that they had in the last movie as the perspective character? Wait, come on, you know? Don't. All I ask of this movie is don't make me spend all the time. I don't want to watch your, deeply dramatic, personal, human interest drama movie. I came here to see a giant frickin' monster. I came here to see lots of giant frickin' monsters. If I do not see giant frickin' monsters in the first 10 minutes of the movie, you have failed at your job. You dingleberries? I'm waiting for Endgame, Avengers Endgame to come out on video. I'm waiting for a lot of things. So shaky. Man, my hands are so shaky. I don't know why. I'm a little miffed. There's somebody, some libelous little turd has been on the TV tropes page for Nip and Tuck. Going on about how in my strip I espouse the idea that transsexuals should be beaten and hit for being different, and they should be, they should be violently punished, and they should be. He advocates them being violently punished for being different and tortured until they're treated better. The usual crap. No. What my advocacy is this: is if you are meant to go into the men's room, and I catch you following my sister, or my nieces, or my mother, or any woman for that matter, into the ladies' room, you're gonna need a handicapped accessible restroom. That's what I'm saying. And that's what and that's what happened in that strip. No dosage. This is why they're not. It's not worth talking to them anymore. You know what I mean by that? I mean, it's not worth talking to them anymore because they're not listening. Now, let me put it this way. Everybody says, we need to talk things out. Let me put it this way. If you've got some village idiot you have to deal with, say, you got some sort of village idiot you have to deal with, and he is trying as hard as he can, let's say he's trying to he's trying to look down into a gas tank with a lit match, and you say, don't do that, and you pull him away. You reason with him, you explain to him, you don't, and he just argues with you and gets all upset with you and just makes all sorts of blubbering arguments with you, and keeps, every time you turn your back, he lights up that match and tries to look down into that tank to see how full it is with gasoline. Now tell me, what do? Are you going to try and reason with him anymore, or are you just going to shut up, turn around, and cold cock him? Three guesses. Look, they've reached a point where they don't care, and they are doing things that are liable to hurt people you care about. Do you understand? That is when the talking stops and the action starts. They've demonstrated that no amount of reasoning with them will stop them from their course of action. So you're going to have to stop them physically. They care more about their personal little self-esteem issues and their weird little hang-ups than they do about, the respect for your other family members and for you. Time to stop them. We've already had multiple cases. We've had several cases already. Men passing themselves off as trannies, going into the ladies' room and attacking underage girls. The argument is over. Yes, it does happen. Yes, they will abuse it. This is no, we're not going to put up with your silliness anymore. Because our wives and daughters and nieces and sisters and girlfriends do not deserve to have to turn around. They're trying to go to the bathroom, trying to wash their hands, turn around, and you see you with your dingling hanging out. And he's so mean. He says they're mentally damaged. So do most psychiatrists. You a man, you insisting that you're a woman. You a woman, you insisting you're a man. You are in the same category as somebody who insists they're a talking duck. You don't need, you don't need the kind of kindness and understanding. You don't want kindness and understanding. You want people to give you affirmation. You want people to come up, pat you on the head and tell you, yes, yes, the land of make-believe is real. More to the point, you want to punish anybody that tells you anything otherwise. What you need is some kindness and compassion. Somebody come along and lock your ass up in a psycho ward until the crazy is trained out of you. Is that horrible? Is that terrible? Is that mean? I love how that, I love how it's horrible and awful and mean to lock a crazy person up. I love, isn't that grand? It's so inhumane. Yeah, it's so much more humane what they did to the 70s. You know why there was an explosion of homeless people in the 80s? Because they changed the regulations about psychiatric wards and mental hospitals. And literally millions of mentally ill people were dumped out on the streets. Which only made things worse for the people who are homeless through ill fortune. Talking some seriously, you got mentally ill people and take them and throw them out on the street and leave them home. That's a formula for all sorts of dangerous problems. somehow it was more compassionate to take these people out of a psychiatric ward where they're being watched, taken care of, and prevented from hurting themselves or others, and set them free in the street. Burn! You had all these liberals standing out there, threw the gates open on Bedlam and threw everybody out in the street. Born free as the wind blows, and Johnny Pants on his head is out there and ends up getting hit by a truck. But it was glorious freedom. It was so compassionate. Hands get shaky. And I don't care if you think it's you're the. I don't care if you think you're Napoleon. You're not going in a bathroom after my wife or daughter, or my girlfriend or my sister. Well, I don't have a wife, I don't have a girlfriend either. But you're not going in there after my sister or my nieces or my mom or anybody else. And if you insist on it, and and start getting your little mangina in a hissy fit over it, I'll do whatever is physically necessary to keep you away from my family. This is what they don't want to accept. This is what they don't realize. They have reached the point where we are not willing to put up with their crap anymore, and we will get, and they will get these little Antifa idiots going out attacking people. Then finding out that the people in the MAGA hats are a lot better kickers of ass than they are, the hard way. You crossed a boundary. You crossed a boundary, and you pushed it, and now you're gonna find out the hard way that we're gonna push back because you wouldn't back off. You wouldn't let up. Do I He's advocating violence. No, I'm not. I'm stating an obvious fact. That you push us far enough, we will defend ourselves. We will defend ourselves, we will defend our family, and we do not give a crap about your special snowflake license. We'll force feed you that too. How do I feel about autistic people? And what am I supposed to feel about them? I don't see people lining up and saying autistic people should be allowed to go into the wrong bathroom. So I don't got no issue with people who've got emotional problems who are dealing with them appropriately. I don't know what I know it's emotional psycho. The whole thing with autism is part of it's not an emotional problem. It's a psychological or neurological. It depends on who you ask, frankly. So why are we talking about transsexuals and then you bring up autistic people? What the frick is the connection? Other than a thinly veiled attempt to imply that I want to beat mentally ill people. Is that what you're shooting for? find it interesting we start talking about people. Let's get this straight. I don't go with the idea. I really don't go with the idea that most of these transsexuals, LBGQ2Q, BQ, whatever, QE2, whatever. I don't think that most of them are mentally ill, other than in the sense that they have self-induced a psychological state of delusion in themselves. I think most of them are just plain old-fashioned perverts. Well, lottie freaking da. They get a thrill dressing up in women's clothing. Well, whoop-de freaking do. They think that they're trying to insist that they're the opposite gender of what they are. Give me a freaking break. They're doing it because it gives them a kick. That's why they're doing it. It comes up again. This was the fundamental difference. You see this. Other social commentators have said this is one of the big differences between the left and the right. The left looks at the right, and when it comes down to it, when it all boils down, when leftists sit down together and talk things over, and they're trying to be, at their most reasonable, they come to the conclusion that the right is evil. That we're ogres who want to eat babies and starve little old ladies and spoil Christmas for everybody, or what have you. But you take the people on the right, out of Christian motivation, largely, out of the motivation to be Christian and compassionate, they will come to the conclusion these people are ignorant. They misunderstand. They're missing. They're ignorant. They're misinformed, or mentally ill, and that they need help. When both sides, when the left tries to live up to its most deeply held principles, it has to view the right, anyone on the right, as being the enemy that needs to be destroyed. When the right comes together in an effort to try and live up to the most deeply held principles, we tend to view the left as being misinformed or mentally ill and in need of help or correction or just information. Submitted that we on the right don't seem to learn the lesson that all the information in the world doesn't seem to move too many of them. I've had, in the course of the years, I've had several people come over to me and say that, I will admit this, I had several people say to me that the things I've said in my forums, on my show, on my comic strips, and elsewhere, actually changed their mind. I recently had somebody, this was a throwaway line in one of my fan fictions recently. The Ladybird. Two of the leaders of the superhero organization were talking and mentioned that, in passing, no, it wasn't in Ladybird, it was in the Warcrafter. The Arms Master, the armored Iron Man type hero is sitting there, you see, and they mentioned in passing that Skinwalker, the hero of the story, he had rescued a woman from a mugger and told her, next time, get something in a higher caliber than Nokia. Basically, a cell phone isn't going to save your neck. And Arms Master got in his snit because he was encouraging the woman to go out and buy a gun. He said, "Oh, that's just great. That's just what we need. A bunch of frightened civilians running around with firearms." And sitting right next to him is Miss Militia. And she looks at it. Her power is that she has this ball of green energy that she can turn into any firearm. And she just looks at him, turns it into a shotgun, racks it, and says, "Gun control is the preposition that a woman should have to fend off that a 95-pound woman should fend off a 200-pound rapist with her bare hands." And then Arms Master just sitting there. And I actually had somebody write me in the forums and say, that radically changed my mind about the whole issue of the right of gun control and the right to bear arms. He was going on and still saying, we just need reasonable gun control. And I pointed out the problem. I responded and pointed out the problem with that whole, we just need a little gun control argument. But it goes to show it persuaded the guy. It changed his mind. So, but the thing of it is that people like that are so few and far between. As one writer put it, you can't reason your way out of a belief that you did not use, that you used unreason to reach. That's a rough paraphrase, but he's right. He's pretty right. people who have gotten into a certain mental fixated state through delusion, unreason, through emotional appeal, they are entrenched, and simple logic is not going to move them very far. I mean, my lord, there's a man that came out. He is what was his name? He became an outspoken right-wing writer, very pro-American. And he said his changing point was, he was already having doubts about the leftist ideology, because he sort of regarded himself as a moderate, but really he was as left as you could get. Leftists always regard themselves as being the center of reason. And anyway, he said the thing that finally divorced him from the leftist ideology, from the Democrats, was September 11th. And he looked at it, and it was clear to him as day. We are America. We have enemies that hate us and want to kill us, and are willing to do this to us, to destroy us for our way of life. And he said he was flabbergasted. His name is David Horowitz, and he said he was flabbergasted. He was a Hollywood writer, and he hung out with Hollywood types all the time, and it stunned him because so many people. There were people who were apologizing, who were being doing the apologetics for the Muslims before the dust had even settled. There were people he talked to that were arguing that America probably deserved what happened on September 11th, and and on and on and on. And he said, "Oh, that was enough. That was enough. I'd had my fill. It was time to get out of there." And come to a conclusion. And then he started looking over the other beliefs that the leftists espoused, and he started seeing the same sort of age of unreason behind all of it. And he became one of the most he became a very prominent war hawk. In fact, he became very pro-American, very pro-war in Iraq, very pro-war in Afghanistan, and he went on from there. He was the guy that believed he devised the grand unification theory of leftism. I'd have to look it up to state it verbatim. see. Documents. Okay, I'm sorry if I fell silent for a little bit. Let's see here. $1,032 strips. Well, this is the 32nd. Pardon. Well, I'm sorry to. Well, I didn't mean to get too bent out of shape like that. It didn't mean to snap at you, but really, it did come across poorly when you said it that way. But you obviously didn't mean what it sounded like, so. Hello. Okay, we got. Let's see. Crowley. Ranter of the Shadows. If he just left. Got YouTuber. Who else do we got? We got 6 people in channel. Well, 5 people. 5 people other than myself. So. One of the just tool keeps resetting itself. Okay. And now the next nip and tuck is ready to go. Did I have it on the right page? Yeah, I have it on the right page. Okay. Well, I can't really, I'm not really into the video game scene. Not really, especially. I play World of Warcraft on and off. But beyond that, not much else. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh, ran to the shadows. Apology accepted. It's obvious you didn't mean it the way it sounded, but just let it go. Okay, let's see. There. I'm steady on your turf. Excuse me. I just tried to eat a handful of dried cereal and dumped it all over myself. Okay, the latest strip is up on the site. quite a few storms actually. Rain on and off, thunder showers, some sun showers too. You know, when you get a thunderstorm blows through so fast, it's still sunny outside while the rain's falling. Curious what the weather is. Come to think of it, I'll check what the weather report is. Come on, give me a break. Okay. Oh, good grief, got a line of storms blowing in through the Mideast, it looks like. Midwest, it looks like, rather. And it looks like it's going to be clear for a while here in Ohio. It's the global warming! It's the global warming! Figured I'd get that in for them in advance. I'm getting really tired of being lectured by people who call me ignorant and backwards and benighted and stupid because I don't believe people who have never gotten a prediction right in their lives or even in the past 2 or 3 generations. Just a little tired of that itsy witsy bit. It's the same old scam that they've been running for thousands of years. It's just that a few thousand years ago it was, sacrifice your, give us your virgin daughters and the lion's share of your gold, and we'll pray and play tom-toms and keep the sky demon from eating the sun. Yeah. So you found the new strip. There you go. Trying to spark up a little more interest in the strip and in the website. In anything, really. I desperately need to boost my... I desperately need to boost my level of my level of supporters and support. Falling behind, I'm behind on everything, and I'm slipping further behind every month. How many of you were here for the last show? I know I shouldn't be showing it to anyone. I shouldn't. I should delete it. I should throw it away. I shouldn't show it to anybody. At the same time, I really, 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 really want to show it off. Silly. Oh. Well. What would you think if I told you? One change to make it even. I'm teetering on the brink, I think, of something. What? I don't know. Stupid video outputs. Stupid video output is still low. I don't know what I'm paying for the cable internet for. It's probably, you know, I still need to get that that thermal paste. The thermal paste is pretty much gone on the I've spent a long time taking a stand against taking a verbal, outspoken stand against sexually explicit work. And I think I've pretty much made a hypocrite of myself now. And just in time to shoot myself completely dead. Yeah. Mr. Cartoon Critic, you were what? Sometimes I feel like I stepped into the middle of a conversation with y'all, and somebody forgot to tell me what it was we were talking about. Well, I have an uncropped version in my own files. Amazing how much raunchier it gets just with them feet. I think I'm self-destructing. I don't know. I think I'm imploding. Everybody has a price, and I think I just found mine. That's what's bothering me. If I sold artwork like that on a regular basis, I might not get rich, but I would definitely have more cash. Yeah. I would, that's what's frustrating me, is that I've edged too far. I've gone too far to the edge. I've let my ethics slide because I want, I'm desperate to generate more traffic, and this is about the only thing that I've been able to come up with that is a dead ringer to guarantee extra traffic. Yeah, I know, exactly. I've gone too far. If I don't get mocked and disparaged, and if I don't get called up, I'm going to be very for even this much. I'm going to be surprised. Of course, I've spent the last I've spent the last 20 years selling cheesecake pictures. Girls in bikinis. And I've had several quote-unquote risque scenes in the comic strips. FASW, I don't even know what that is, Dan. Wow, we just broke 7. We've got 8 people in channel. The irony of this is spectacular. I yielded to temptation. Well, yes, FA, safe for work. What is FA? I hate it when people do. They come in, you come in there and they start talking in abbreviations. Snurf, flurp, flurt, flurfle, rafflemow. Punch. Fur affinity, safe for work. What's the? Is it a separate site from Fur Affinity? Oh gee, somebody came in and then somebody left. Is it a separate site from Fur Affinity? Or is it the same site? Is this stupid thing working? Yeah. Well, I think I better close that file. So in other words, it's just on the same site where you're pretending that they haven't got a porn section right beside you. I used to use I used to have a advertising ad company that they not only posted ads on my website, I'd occasionally use them and do promotionals for the website through the but they crashed. They went out of business like last year. Left me in the lurch. What was the name of that company? I can't even believe I've forgotten the name of the company. It was an internet ad company that you bid on websites, locations, something like that. But they went out of business, and I ended up with nothing but a bunch of empty spaces on my webpage. I went too far. I went too far. Well, you've witnessed me at my lowest, ladies and gentlemen. This is me at my most Uh, this is the this is my new low. Thank you. Uh, you know, I feel like the guy on Breaking Bad. Oh, thanks, thanks. That makes me feel a lot better. You've been lower. Like I say, I feel, you know, I feel like the guy on Breaking Bad. His life and his self-esteem are in the toilet. He's done, you know. You know, I'm not dying of cancer. I'm just in rotten health, no money, not able to do, you know, just his self-respect's in the toilet. And he looks over and he sees this high school dropout selling crystal meth and making more in a week than he makes in a year, and he goes, crap, I could do that with my home chemistry set. Leaving a legacy? I don't know about leaving a legacy. I think the problem is that is the exact opposite. Is that I don't care if I leave a legacy at this point. At least not enough to keep myself out of trouble. You know, sometimes I think God subcontracted out to have somebody design sex. Seriously. And he comes in and he sees her, oh crap, you're already finished with it. You're all fired, but now we're stuck with it. Because you look at sex like this. You know, here's the deal. You are going to be, you know, you're a human being. You're going to be born with a condition, and that condition is going to break out in puberty and stick with you the rest of your life. And it will be the most powerful biological drive you have, next to needing water, food, and air. And that's going to be debatable from time to time. And there are approximately 1 million ways that it could go wrong. The least of which is where you spend 18 to 20 years trying to raise a smaller version of yourself. I would have been like, screw it, just let them pollinate. Yeah, so every artist is Walter White. Okay, every artist of any moderate quality on the internet is Walter White. Heisenberg, the guy from Breaking Bad. And they are perpetually at episode 1. Because they're going, all I have to do is chuck my principles out the window and go make that crack. And that's what I live with every day of my life. And it's also the fact that, prurient interest. I just spent this episode going, just taking it further than I wanted to, didn't I? This is. I think I'm terrified. I really am. I'm starting to feel like this show is nothing but a documentary of my slide into self-corruption. Along with the side dish of my slide into depression, homelessness, poverty, perpetual debt, failure, just death. And that this is going to be this is going to be Exhibit A and then they're going to do like a documentary.
He was 48 when he finally snapped.
Not proud of. We're all fallen creatures, and we've all got stuff we're not proud of. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. It's a very mild way to put it. Not proud of. What's worse is the stuff that you're ashamed of, and that it's like you're trying to ice skate uphill. I don't know why I showed you this. Well, I know why I showed you this. I don't know what I'm going to do about it, though. No, I know what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to I think the word you were looking for earlier when I said sexually explicit, you said sexually implicit. I think what you meant was highly sexually suggestive. To be fair, it's a portrayal of a married couple. Who are obviously very happy with one another, but still appealing. I apologize to y'all. I apologize to y'all. I'm gonna have to delete this show again. Sent those commissions out to Wild Wild Weed. I can't say it. 3 W's. Haven't heard back from him yet. He's probably, from what I understand, he's out and about a lot. So, of course, I've been keeping him waiting for far too long for those last couple of drawings. I wonder what the progress is on the game they're designing. I didn't need to do that, did I? I apologize to y'all for showing you that artwork. Won't happen again. Well, I won't say that it won't happen again. It's just, I'm only a man. I'm an old fart. Well on to be, I'm weak. And I apologize for that. Stupid slideshow thing on my computer program is not working right. That's why you're only seeing like 3 or 4 animated GIFs in a row here, over and over. There should be about 4 or 5 times that number. Okay, we have got 8 people in channel. We got 7 people other than myself in channel. We've got Ben Shakar, we got Archangel, we've got, I'm assuming YouTuber is still here. That leaves 5 of you. Well, 4 of you. I are smart, I am do math good. But could the 4 of you who are watching, who haven't spoken yet, please just type hello. Type hello in the chat window, in the chat section there. Do that for us. Okay, we got Benchikar, we got YouTuber, we got Archangel, and now we got 4 more. Still waiting for you guys. Come on. Just say something. Say anything, please, for the sake of humanity. You know, just for basic, manners. You know? Okay, we've gotten responses from all 3, from the first 3. Now I'm waiting for the other 4. And we know you're out there. Yeah. I remember the Bob Marley song. It was his only hit, one-hit wonder. Guy has it's not a Bob Marley song actually. The guy that wrote it and performed it, he has he had like decades of a musical career, and that was the only hit that he had that broke away. Have you ever seen the video of it? Robin Williams is in it. And of course, he doesn't say anything. It's just silent performance, and he's brilliant at it too. It was hilarious. And there was one moment though, where it was a close up on his face. He's pulling a long, sad face. He's looking, and then he just spreads a smile across his face, and it was amazing, the transformation. Like he just illuminated. The landlord say your rent is late. You may have to litigate. Okay, yeah, we've got Archangel, Benchikar, Ran to the Shadows, and YouTuber have all spoken. That leaves 3 of you. 3 of you who have not spoken yet. 3 of you who have not typed in so we can see who you are. Come on now. You can do it. You can do it. I don't know if this makes any sense to y'all, but I get a certain, this may sound weird, but I get a certain amount of vicarious happiness out of showing my characters having a happy sex life of their own with their wives and husbands. Is that weird? Does that sound weird to you? I'm getting no response for that one. Y'all are just sitting there looking at each other going, yeah, you're going to respond to that one. I ain't going to respond to that one. You're getting, the freak's getting weird on us. Come on, you type in. That isn't weird, is it? Why, no. Of course, in the TV tropes page, several people made the point of putting in my, on the pages of my characters, on my comic strips. They put in, the trope. Good people have good sex, because that's apparently supposed to be a cliche. That's part of the reason why I drew that picture of her, of Zelda obviously having one hell of a time. Yeah, well, let's just say that context makes me believe that they were just, being snide about it. What kind of person, comes up with a trope? Good people have good sex. The implication behind making it a trope like that is that that it's. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it. By making it a trope, they imply it's a cliche and an incorrect one. To some degree, there's a reason that that most of the TV tropes, most of the things on each page are subversions of said trope. I know they say tropes are neither good or bad, but I like the idea that my fictional characters are happy, in every sense of the word. Like, I hated how, the Trix rabbit never got no cereal, Me and every other kid in the United States screaming at the TV, "Give him the cereal!" And I'm sorry, I never felt sorry for the Roadrunner once. But that poor starving coyote. Hello, is Mr. Cartoon Critic. Is Mr. Cartoon Critic. That makes Mr. Cartoon Critic, Renter of the Shadows, Ben Shakar, Archangel Primal Core, and YouTuber. That leaves the two of you what needs to type something in the talkie channel. Because we know you're there. We have you surrounded. Come out with your verbs up. It was worth a shot. As always, as I was saying before, okay. Among other things, take a moment to say the usual. This website is supported by donors and patrons such as yourself. Thanks to the generous contributions of people who make donations at PayPal.com or at Patreon.com. There's you go to www.rhjunior.com. On the front page, there is a PayPal button if you want to just drop a donation one time in the hat. And there is a Patreon button if you'd like to become a regular sponsor. In which case you also get certain little extra privileges like access to art on exclusive art on the Patreon page, downloadable desktops, and a couple other things. I'm thinking about adding T-shirts. Thinking about it, not doing anything about it. Also, currently I'm thumping the drum for J. Riley McCool. J. Riley McCool is the author and artist of the web comic How to Be Homeless. She is currently in a horrendous bit of a bind. The owner of the property which her trailer sits on is evicting her for a frankly minor infraction of the rules. She let somebody come into her trailer and use the restroom. And from what I've read in previous entries, this woman really had it in for her right from the start. And despite the fact that she's paid her lot rent and has kept it fully paid up, she's still getting evicted, and the police aren't going to do anything because it's perfectly legal where she is to throw her out with no benefit. And she's got nowhere to go, and the people who are supposed to help her don't have a clue what to do. And that's being generous. Her own autobiographical comic is posted on my front page. It describes the situation in fuller detail. Also, there are links there to her homepage and to her Patreon. So if you all listen and you feel you want to help out somebody in need, go there, check it out, and stop by her Patreon page, give her some Patreon loving. You know what I'm saying? I am monetarily speaking in deep water myself. Almost as bad as her in some regards, but I can at least thump the drum and blow the horn and try and get some people rallied up to help her out. So I'm going to do it. Come on, people, let's go, let's do this. There's a decent woman who's had a long string of hard luck and could really use our help. I'm talking, come on, people, Avengers assemble. You know what I'm saying? Why is my copper voice Latino? I don't know what's the voice. I just make it the voice up. I don't think it's I don't know what nationality it is. It just sort of drifts around transcontinental like. It's more like the nation of Dorf. Tim Conway. You go this way and you go that way. Precisely. But I'd also like to say that I could use a little help too, because currently I'm pulling in between $400 to $600 a month, and my bill, even with the government aid I'm getting, I'm on food stamps, and it still got me in the lurch because my expenses are larger than my outgo is larger than my income. I've got I haven't heard from the IRS yet, but I've got a huge thing from the IRS that's coming in, and I'm going to have to make monthly payments to them. I'm behind on my monthly lot rent, big time. I'm behind, my trash. It's just everything. Okay, just file it under everything. And thank you to the sponsors. I do have your generosity is a lifesaver, and I'm hoping I can convince more people to come in and become regular viewers, regular readers, regular sponsors. Which is why I darn near put porcupine boobs on the front page. That's that's a sad thing. Okay. I don't know what is my voice sound that she sounds Latino. I don't know. I've never heard a Latino long enough to get the pronunciation. I don't know. Bork, bork, bork. I don't know. I thought people were going to spit their bit. I introduced the tooth breezies in the Rise of Darth Vulcan. I thought people were going to split a gut when I described them as having accents like the Swedish Chef. And the thing of it is, I didn't do that. It's how they sound on the show. For real. They don't go bork, 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 but they darn well come close. Buongiorno! Passa la pasta! Now I remember this was a few years back. It was back around 2000. This was early on in the terror war. Some bunch of Muslim SOBs took some hostages. A couple of Italians, a couple of Sicilian tourists. They were going to execute one guy, and he jumped up and proceeded to light into them. He died. They killed him, but he jumped up and started thrashing the crap out of one of them. And he said, "I will show you how a Sicilian dies." Like, dang. Step up and deliver, Where was it? Where was it? Dublin? There was some mecha bobbing bird decided to, some mecha splody dope decided to try and blow up the local airport. So he, packed his car full of explosives and drove it straight at the local airport. And apparently he, whatever he was using for explosives, he didn't do it right, because the car just he smashed it into a support pillar, and the car just burst into flames. And he jumped out, and apparently everybody figured out what he was up to, because they proceeded to beat the everlasting crap out of him. The first guy to get to him was a guy that was there on smoke break. He was sitting out there on smoke break, and that car goes flying past. And the guy jumps out, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. And he went over and the guy's pants were on fire, so he went over and proceeded to stomp him out. They did an interview of him. They interviewed him, and they asked him, said, and they asked him, do you have anything you'd like to say to the terrorists out there? He looked at the cameras. Don't come here. We'll set you up. And you're like, I want you on my, zombie apocalypse team, How many of you have you seen? Let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that. Here we go. It's on YouTube. Here, let me get it open here. This guy here, I want him on my my post-apocalyptic zombie.
Tyrone, how are you going?
Oh, great. The full screen thing is broken. Great. But here, let me check this out. Bam! Not even a moment's hesitation, man. That is just awesome, man. I want that, like I said, man. When the zombie apocalypse happens, I want that kid on my, in my party. You know what I'm saying? Monster jumps out of an alley, boom, drop him like a sack of dirt. Oh man. Nice to go. There's still people out there that got it together. Whoa, hey. Wait a minute. I don't know what the heck happened there. I don't. The picture is not up. So, why did it... I don't know. I'm sorry you had to witness my particular personal moral meltdown there. I apologize for that. Not sure if I really particularly apologize for the drawing, but for implying that it would go further. I don't know. One of the things about having a line is knowing where, knowing where to draw it. And how to draw it consistently. Now, is there anything that y'all would like to talk about? Because the more I talk, the more maudlin and morbid and that I get. Come on. Okay, we got 9 people in here, so there are 3 people at least who have not typed it. Okay, here's Lord Hylia. Yeah, there we go. Howdy ho. That's another person. We got 9 people. Come on, let's break for 10. Okay. I'd be more excited about this if there was, like, an entry fee. I won't lie. Brings to mind a story I read thread. Old man was raising his 2 granddaughters. Elderly black man back in the, I forget when it was. But this is fairly early on in social services stopped by one day, and they realized, he wasn't receiving any financial aid of any sort, no food stamps or nothing. And they explained to him that the government would provide him with some, extra money to help him out. And he was like, "Oh, that's good of them. That's good of me." And they signed him up. And he went in the first month. He went in. He got the money. He went out. He spent the entire check on corn on the cob and baby back ribs and ingredients for sauce. And he set out his grill in the backyard. He set up, they had a couple of picnic tables. He had the girls set up paper plates and everything, and he started cooking up ribs, and people come by, and it was like $1 a plate. And back then, he could get a lot of ribs for what he spent. And when it was all done, and every month he would do that. And pretty soon he had, he started to have a really nice bankroll, and they got a bank account, and then, well, apparently they don't know how the word got out, but the little girls had probably been bragging about how they might even buy themselves a car soon. Get some new pretty they were going to get some new pretty clothes, and they were going to get, and maybe even get a car soon. And of course, the agents showed up and proceeded to inform him of the crime he had committed. And at all this point, I'm with them at this point. I'm reading along, and I'm going, yeah, what is this guy doing? He cannot possibly know. What is he doing? And making money off of welfare, off of food stamps and welfare. And just I was getting all bent out of shape, and then they write on, and the old man, and then I keep reading on, and it goes to the point where the guy's sitting him down in the office explaining that this was against the law. It was highly illegal. And the old man was just sitting there, just bewildered. They said he was just absolutely confused. He says, "Why are you punishing me? Why are you lecturing me?" He said, "You should be saying, 'Well done, thou good and faithful servant.'" And it was like an epiphany for me. He's right. He's right. He's absolutely right. In any other circumstance, if you gave this, they went on, they canceled his benefits and everything, and so he stopped doing the barbecue every month, and so they went on with their life. But he was absolutely right. In any other circumstances, if you handed a man, $50, and he started turning it into $200 every month. I don't know what he made or what he was receiving, but he was making a obvious profit, enough so that he was starting to do better for his family. Any other circumstances, he would be praised. Only in the government welfare system are you punished if you do not waste the money that you are given. If you do not prove to be a loss. And this principle expands a little further. Speaking personally, I'm on the EBT card on food stamps. They don't give you food stamps anymore. They give you an EBT card. They inform you right up front. If you don't spend the whole thing, they may reduce your benefits the next month. So now, if I don't spend every last dime on that card, I may end up with a little less money next month. And if I use any of that money in any manner that is profitable, if I actually manage to take, 5 talents and turn them into 10, I'm a criminal. It's screwed up. It's backwards. It's absolutely backwards. One should hope an artist knows where to draw the line. Ah. Let's be honest. Let's put it this way. Let's make it straightforward and honest. It's not fun or enjoyable or pleasant. It's not enjoyable. It's not fun to have strict moral principles about things. It is the opposite of fun, because you are denying yourself profit, you are denying yourself pleasure, and it's a constant reminder. And when things get really dire, it's hard to convince yourself that it's worth holding on to a moral principle, no matter how blurry lined it may be. It's hard, it's hard to convince yourself to hold on to a moral principle when your real life concern is, paying the rent. Being hit for taxes by the IRS. Paying the electric bill. Keeping the garbage service running. And you're sitting there wondering if you're going to hold on, if you're going to be holding on to your principles in the dark, in the cold, with the IRS knocking on the door. And it's worse to turn around and see that other people have crossed that line. In fact, that they don't even see the line exists at all, and are literally making money hand over fist. I remember one of the first drawings I did. One of the first drawings I did is a cat girl, doing sort of a ballet dance, up on one toe, very graceful. I was very proud of it, and she was like a cartoon character, not anatomically correct, but just wearing fur. But I actually sold the original artwork for something like I auctioned it off for, I think, $20-30. I was told flat out, if I had drawn a couple of nipples on there, it would have probably gotten 3 times as much. And thus I was introduced to the world of artistic cynicism. You gotta wonder about the guy that hired, what's his name, for the Sistine Chapel. Okay, we want you to paint the roof of the Sistine Chapel. It's gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna paint the entire universe on the ceiling. Is there gonna be people all over the place with their dinglings out? You can't tell me that wasn't distracting for a great number of people whenever they held services in that chapel. It's so nice to see all the women folk with their eyes cast up towards heaven. No, their eyes are cast up towards Adam. I've already compromised myself. More than I ever thought I would. And it's... great number of people who look at the compromises I've made and laugh at them as piddling. I may look back on this in 20 years and come to the conclusion that I was naive. Or I could look back 20 years from now and decide this is where it all went downhill, you know? I think every time that I come out here and I get online, I swear to myself I'm not gonna talk about this nonsense anymore. I've already whined and flexed about it enough. It's not entertaining. It's not a way to keep an audience. It's not a way to keep people listening. It's not a way to keep people entertained or interested. Many questions, many questions. Well, the nature of government, the nature of all governments is to gather power to themselves. It's not a failing of philosophy. It's just it's the same as a biological process for any government. All governments, another thing is that all governments eventually become an oligarchy. They trend towards a handful of people with all the power in their hands. Simple explanation. Maintaining a free government, maintaining a government that is small and it respects the rights of human beings is a constant maintenance job. deep yawn. Okay, we got Lord Hylia, Cartoon Critic, Ranch of the Shadows. We got 8 people. That's enough. I'm hoping to break 10 people tonight. I don't see, and somebody just left. Oh well, there's out the window goes that hope. Whee! Whoosh. Nice little round circle on the pavement. You know, what's insane? Okay, one branch of our government has decided that I'm in desperate enough need that they need to help me out, and they give me about $200 a month in food stamps. Another branch of our government has decided that I owe them, and they're going to be hitting me for about $1,300, which, you know, I will have to pay off in small monthly increments. Now, if I could just figure out how to get this one branch of the government to just forward the benefits to the other and leave me the hell out of it. My whole life would be better. In fact, I would, if I could just, I would love, one thing that the Social Security system needs, an opt-out option. You sign a little piece of paper that says, I hereby forego any claim on any Social Security benefits to myself. Signed. And they never charge you Social Security ever again. Of course, if they did that, it would collapse immediately. Because nobody would want to sign up for that. And what does that tell you about Social Security? That, socialism. Idea, the Democrat Party. Idea is so wonderful that they have to be forced on people at gunpoint. Well, Rancher of the Shadows. Good luck to you too. Good night. Sleep tight. Catch you later. I don't know how much longer I'm going to go on. Probably because this is inertia. This is... You get a fat man rolling downhill, he's not going to stop anytime soon. Boo! I wonder how long it's going to be before somebody prints an article about the hypocrisy of RHJunior. Well, okay, so they've already done that. They've decided, he claims to be a loving Christian, but he hates Muslims. And he's hateful on gay people. He hates gay people, and he hates and he hates trans. He wants them all to be castrated with pliers. It's like living with a 6-year-old. I hate you. You're mean. Not worth the effort of correcting him anymore. seeing something. We're seeing something right now that I never thought we were going to see. Couple of states have already outlawed abortion, or rather, they put in a bill that says abortion is, against the law after you can detect the heartbeat. Which is pretty much a fair compromise that many pro-lifers have been suggesting for years. We already established that life ends when the heartbeat stops. That's an accepted medical standard. Well, outside of CPR, they accept that life ends when the heartbeat stops. So why shouldn't we extend that legal principle to the other end of this question as to where it starts? Of course, those who want abortion consider any compromise that isn't in their favor to be, evil and fascist. I love how many of them are shouting that they're going to go on a sex strike until abortion is returned. Well, congratulations, you keep those nasty legs together, you won't need an abortion now, will you? I read where one guy said he'd never have sex with a woman that had a bunch of abortions. That what's haunted. This is morbid, but no man is one. That's gotta. I don't know about this. That's gotta be a deterrent for a lot of men. They're not gonna want to be with a woman who's got a dead baby tally on the side of her womb. Because they got a pretty good guess what she'll do with his baby if his back is ever turned. I don't want to be a part of that. It's something I have to keep. This is something I have to keep rediscovering for myself over and over and over again. After, I'll go through hours of plexing over the issues. I don't want to be a part. The reason, one of the reasons I don't. One of the reasons I always ultimately decide that I don't want, that I'm not going to sell X-rated art, as tempting as it is in so many ways. I don't want to be a part of the culture. I do not want to be a part of that. I don't. The sexual, I don't want to be a part of the sexually promiscuous exhibitionist culture. I've read columns by people who, it's one of these cracked.com columns, written by somebody who does furry porn for a living. And there are many people out there that do that because furry fans will throw money hand over fist at it. But and they described it as it's a regular freak parade. They will be asked things they never wanted to hear. They will be told things they never wanted to know. They will be approached by people that they never wanted to know existed. And they will be expected to do things that they never. The more you do, it's always the more you compromise, the more you're expected to compromise. Until you're doing things that would make you, that would gag a goat. I've already gone too far with it as it is. Just contemplating it, looking over the cliff, as it were. Like being a drug dealer. Downside, you have to deal with the drug addicts. And with it, you have to. The downside of being a drug dealer, you have to deal with the drug dealers, with other drug dealers, and with the drug addicts. I'm halfway to being a sleazy perv myself, if I'm not already. Oh yeah. Sad thing is that some of the things that you have to be explicit about what you will not do. And some of them should have, some of the things they have to put down, will not draw this, that, these are, some of the things they have to list are things you think would be self-evident. Too nasty for the peoples. You'll never go, you'll never hit the bottom of the barrel. It goes on forever. Years ago, I would have never. 20 years ago, I would have never considered goes without saying is that my standards my ethics, my morals, my standards, my limits, my self-imposed restrictions have slacked considerably over the past 30 years. When I was 18, I would have never done it. When I was 28, 38, now I'm 48. So now all I can wonder is whether I can walk back from what I've already become. I want to do better than this. I want to make an honest living, doing worthwhile things, that have no ill to them. I don't want to go through another wondering, is this the day I'm finally going to be so desperate that I resort to something I never thought I'd do? Because I've already hit that, just incrementally. But I'm getting closer to the edge every day. And even going part ways and see, apparently, you're going to have to go over the cliff. But I don't want to be that. Whatsoever things are good. Dwell on those things. I've come so close to selling out. I'm sorry I'm dwelling on this. I'm dwelling on this. I'm dwelling on it, plexing on it, talking about it for hours on end. Tired of talking about it. I'm tired about thinking about it. I'm tired of thinking about talking about it. I'm tired about talking about thinking about it. Heck with it. If the lights go out, they go out on on my terms. If the lights go out, they're going to go out on my terms. Not on anybody else's. Not on the terms of a society that says the only way that you can survive as an artist is to sell out, sell smut. I've already lost the ability to, at one time I could have said, I've never compromised, I've never sold anything like that, and I haven't sold anything like that. I've been spending a lot of time, just edging as close as I can, seeing how close I can get to the edge without going over, and I'm paying for that. That's a bad enough compromise all by itself. At one point, I was my lowest point. This is not even my lowest point. My lowest point, I almost set it up. I set it up. I set up an anonymous website with an anonymous name, fake, an anonymous email. Posted some stuff under an anonymous name on Fur Affinity. And for a grand total of about 4 or 5 hours, waited for somebody to make a bid. And then I said to myself, my God, what am I doing? And tore it all down. That's why I can't even take pride anymore in the fact that I have held to my standards, because I haven't. I caved in that one time. It didn't, and it profited me nothing. 4 hours later, I uprooted it all. Now I have that shame to live with. Now I have this shame to live with. But still, at the end of the day, if the lights go out, I'll go into the dark. As myself. Whack 'em. Phlegm. I'll leave the strips with Zelda and Nip up. Hey. Devil's advocate, maybe, if... Well, never mind. Let's see. Oh my. I know that much. Trust God and hold on to Him. It'll be worth it in the end. It's simply not worth it to compromise yourself. But like I said before, that's something that I have to, I'll spend out. This is how I spend my evenings, just plexing out, getting depressed, winding myself up, and then just arguing myself into a corner until I finally admit, no, it wouldn't be worth it. Sometimes I edge a little closer to the get a little closer to the edge than I thought, than I did the time before. But in the end, it's always back to the drawing boards, back to the basics. The long, dark tea time of the soul, I suppose you'd call it. Broadcasting live on YouTube. Cheaper than therapy. More publicly humiliating. And more liable to result in aftershocks in your life. So, it's been another night and another 4-hour tour through my personal neurosis. Ow, darn. Joints in my hand are stiff. Ow. Great, just what... It's the onset of arthritis! No! More like the onset of sleeping wrong, or falling asleep on a chair wrong. Next question is, I can't keep plugging along the way I am. I've got to, I've got to make a breakthrough. I've got to make a jump to the next level if I'm going to survive. And I'm not sure how exactly to do that, or what it would constitute. Nerve in my back or something. Every now and then I'll move it. It feels like it literally feels like I got bee stung right on my shoulder blade. The pain's that sharp. For all I know, maybe I did get bee stung on my shoulder blade. Doesn't feel like that after it wears, fades off pretty quick. Don't write that stuff like down for me. This is the. I do this. I broadcast it. I record it on YouTube. That's. Let's see. Oh. Oh my. Ooh, yeah. Okay, it's it's 3 and it's late. It's after midnight here. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Maybe next time we'll actually have an entertaining show instead of one about me being depressed, neurotic, and freaking out. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Or, well, whenever I actually broadcast. Y'all take care, okay? Say a prayer for me. Say several. I need the help. Good night, y'all.